Got 51 of you cats in here. I appreciate all you guys. So tonight, my goal, I've got this engine, and we're going to switch out not only the CVT transmission, but also the gearing. And you guys are going to go on a ride with me. Any of you guys have any questions about CVT transmissions or the final drive units before I start? Because I'll put those in my head and I'll show you guys exactly. But we're going to install a CVT transmission kit, and I'll tell you what they do as we go, and the final drive kit. So this is our CVT kit. We have a Ravino CVT kit as well, but this is the Gen 2 NCY CVT transmission kit. It comes with the clutch bell, which goes over the top of the clutch here. It comes with the spring. This is going to go over the top just like that. Okay. I'm going to show you how this all goes in. And then you got the variator. And then your secondary slider. See, it's got the different slots. And then you have a bearing style. So whenever the spring is being pushed down, it's being pushed and turned at the same time. So it's got bearings there, so it'll push and spin at the same time. Real easy. But the question is, what the heck would you need that for? So the reason why you run a CVT transmission kit, performance CVT transmission kit, is because our scooters, our GY6 scooters, are set up for economy, to save gas from right out of the box. And we don't really care about that. We care about performance. In short, it's going to use the RPMs of the engine to peak performance. It's going to keep it there. That way you're getting the massive, the max amount of performance out of the RPM ranges on your engine. That's why you would do a transmission kit. We're also installing our magnetic drain plug kit. This doesn't have to do with transmissions. The magnetic drain plug kit just catches like shards floating around in the engine, and it attaches to this magnet so they don't do any extra damage. And that's we've got those on the side, of course. But here is our final drive kit for the 171cc. A lot of kits on the market will look just like this. That's cool. These are just gears. You'll have a gear like this inside of your transmission that does not come in the kit. It won't look like this. And what you do is you'll pull this out, press this gear out. You're going to push this gear out with a press, and then you're going to pop this gear in. Okay? But we supply the kit just like this. This is the way the kit comes. The transmission, well, you can choose. You don't have to do it this way, but if we press it for you, it's going to come with the extra gear and this gear and this gear. That's everything you need, so you don't have to do any extra work. And then a gasket, of course. And the question would be, why do we do final drive gears? What would be the point of final drive gears? So I use this analogy all the time. If you follow me, I'm like a freaking broken record. If you have me, noodle legs, my little legs, and I've got this 10-speed bicycle, and then you got freaking Lance Armstrong comes in, and he's got a 10-speed bike. We're going to share the same bicycle, okay? If we put that 10-speed bicycle in, let's say, third gear, and we go to take off, I'm not going to take off that fast because it's in third gear. I'm just trying to pedal. My legs are burning. He gets on there, and he's like, he does the same thing, but he's freaking out of there. I'm way behind. Well, that's where gearing comes in. The point is, as fast as you pedal your legs, say you're in first gear on the bicycle, as fast as you pedal your legs, it doesn't matter how strong your freaking legs are, you only can pedal so fast. It doesn't matter if Lance Armstrong's riding it or I'm riding it. It's not about muscle at that point. It's about how fast you can pedal. So with the gearing, so a lot of people ask, they say like, if I do a 171cc, how much faster will I go? So whatever you were going with your 150cc, when you do a big bore kit, that isn't going to change. Your top speed doesn't change. Remember, your little pedals, you can only pedal so fast. But getting to that speed, That's your muscle. You're going to get there quick. Pretend my little peanut legs are the 150cc. Lance Armstrong's is the 171cc. Okay? He's got more muscle. 171cc has more muscle than a 150cc. Noodle legs. Okay? Then we've got the big bore kit, the 171cc, and we pedaled so fast we're not going any faster, but I've got freaking wicked bottom end torque. Like more than I need. Like I'm almost doing a wheelie. But I would rather pull some of that power out of the bottom end, you know, the takeoff speed, and then put that power towards like top speed. Make sense? Does that make sense? Gearing controls top speed. Big bore kits and control muscle. And CVT kits control overall engine RPM, raises the engine RPM. Kind of the same thing as gearing in a way, but you can only rev the engine so high. Does that make sense? All right, so going back to this, we're going to install a gear up kit, pre-pressed already. Just to recap, when you buy a gear up kit, it only comes with these two gears here. When I say these two, see how there's two gears in here? There's two gears here. I mean two gears like this. That's the way it's going to look if you buy a traditional gear up kit. Us at Rolling Wrench, you know we love making kits. If you choose We Press It, you're going to get an extra gear. We pressed it for you. You don't need a press. You just install it. Comes with the gasket and it comes with oil, which I don't have on the table. Then we're going to do a short wheel axle kit. There's different size axles. I'll show you. So you see that axle right there? It's hard to see. See that axle? See this axle? A lot shorter. The reason why you would do a short wheel axle kit is because see this wheel and see that little cover? I would have this stabbing through here. You'd have this long extra wheel or this long extra axle. So that's why you do a short wheel axle kit for the ruckus guys. Depending on your model. Those of you that don't know, this is a Warfab engine stand. I've got one here. This is the new generation, and I've got the old generation right here. And it just holds your GY6 engine up. Now, if you notice, I have another engine stand back here because I don't want this thing to wobble and go into the frickin' my little light over there. So the only one downfall, though, is if you notice right here on these engine stands, you really can't run an engine cover, like a CVT transmission cover on there. It's really hard to get off. So even though I have that cover on there, this bolt right here is really difficult to get off with these engine stands. Not really made for that at all. These are all, I'll tell you which bolts are different lengths here. So this is a longer bolt right here. See how much longer that is compared to the rest of the bolts? Okay. And then there's another one down here. This one down here is going to be a little longer. See that? Same length. You guys can see that? One of these bolts is super short. I think it's this one. Let's see. It is that one. That's one. We can leave that there, and I'm going to just loosen this one. Oh, no, I'm wrong. That's the short one. One of those are short. Okay, there we go. And if you're running a CVT cover and you have a kickstart, you're going to have this 10 millimeter. That needs to come loose too because that kickstart gear, the kickstart lever, needs to come off of there. And there's a little trick you can do. Well, here's a trick. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these, but Harbor Freight little magnetic trays for all these screws. This one goes to my case brace, or my, see how I have it detached right here? So if you're confused, like if you're about to pull your kickstart cover off, just grab a magic marker and then you can just mark where it was. All right, so then grab a mallet, and here's a little trick. So grab your little kickstart lever, and then give this a little bit of pressure like that. Well, let's break this loose first. I'm just gonna hit it like that. So this is difficult to pull off of here, but not if you take this lever, push it down just a little bit like that, get the load off of it, and real slow, because then you pull your whole kickstart gear guts out. Okay, and see right here where this is, and see this bushing? That actually goes inside there like that. So be careful, all right? And the other thing is, you'll see a gasket here. This gasket does nothing. This is an open hole right here that breathes, it goes right through. There's a gasket, it's more of a dust gasket. It's not like it's sealing anything and stuff like that. So I think it's just more of like vibration gasket. Okay, so here is our CVT transmission, looking sweet. So now we got to get these things off of here. And there's a couple different ways to do that. In order to get this guy loose, say you put your socket on there and you're trying to loosen it, and say you don't have a impact gun like this, okay? You can put it on there and get it off, or retorque it. Then you've got something called a CVT or clutch holding tool. It looks just like this, okay? Ours on our website's a little different than this, but what you do is you can adjust the knob here to spread it open further. You can turn this, get it dialed in, and go like that. See how it's locked down now? So does that make sense? You could hold this sucker like that, and then you grab your socket and wrench, and you can loosen this nut without having to have an impact. You can use that to torque it down as well, and then it also works for the transmission, or the bell, clutch bell. You can hold it just like that, grab a wrench, crank it, loosen it. Use 17. So for me, I'm just going to hit it. Let's hold this here. Okay. There's that. There's a washer. Remove that. We're going to come back over here, hit this one. Okay. Nut, washer, dry face. The dry face that we're going to use is a heck of a lot lighter than this guy. See the difference? So you're going to get lighter rotating mass. The clutch bell that we're using is also lighter. It also is a little bit more stylish, and it's got the little ribs in there. Can you see the ribs? Versus the stock. Helps it grip a little bit better. So there's that. And then grab your whole clutch and your belt. Sometimes your belts are directional. This is your clutch. Put that there. If you notice, this pulley does not come with the kit. However, this part does. So we're going to need to modify this sucker and install this spring, this clutch. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But and then you can grab your CVT variator. I just grabbed the little boss right here and give her a little pull like that. See that? There's 6 little rollers in there. And I don't know what weight those are, but if I had to guess, they're probably 16 gram. We're going to probably go with an 11 gram. So it's a lot lighter. By going lighter on these rollers, see, the way that it works is through centrifugal force. As this thing spins, see these little ramps? Little ramp right here? As it spins, like when you were a kid on a freaking merry-go-round, you get flung out, you're grabbing on right here. That's what these rollers do. Through centrifugal force, they roll out like that. In turn, they push the variator up. The lighter your rollers are, the faster they fling out. Okay, these are heavier. We're going to do lighter, but we're not going to use this. We're going to use this sucker. Okay? That's going to be, and this kit, by the way, this is our CVT transmission kit. It comes with 10, 11, and 12 gram rollers. we're just going to make the new one look just the same way as the stock one, but we're going to reuse this boss. So I'm going to put that there. You guys follow me on that? Is it interesting? Got 68 of you sons of guns in here. Appreciate all you guys. More than you freaking know. All right? And is this camera, I want you guys' feedback. Does this camera like add value to this channel, or would you rather me like use the more fancy cameras, like for instance like that one? Or do you like the point of view look? Does that work out for you guys? Because the whole reason why I even do this stuff is to make your guys' experience on these lives better. So let me know. Those of you that don't know, I appreciate you, Fred, for becoming a new member. Those of you that don't know, the people that are in green there are members of this channel. They're supporters of this channel. What does that mean? Well, it means that you get, like the video I'm doing now, I do these videos not pretty much once a week, not every week, but a lot. This is a live video that we're doing right now. This video, whenever this is over with, is going to go private. It'll be in a private library. I probably have hundreds of videos, live videos like this. And all you members, for $2.99 a month, has access to that full library of a year and a half of every Friday going live, talking about stuff like this. Some of this stuff, though, to be upfront with you, like I'll take bits and pieces and clips and make it into an actual YouTube video for everybody. It'll be more simplistic. This is more like behind the scenes stuff. So that's what $2.99 a month will give you on the being a member. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all you guys. If you're not a member, I appreciate you just as much as the members. Just so you know, it's not about money, it's about this community. So appreciate you guys. 100. What can we do for you, Matt? Oh, just support, dude. That's all I need. Like, just support. It's really cool to be able to do what I love, and people like you guys supporting. I appreciate that. This might be a dumb question, but when would you recommend replacing the rollers or sliders? All right, so let me explain. Rollers or sliders, they have an original shape. So here is a variator roller. See that? Perfectly round. After a long time of use, and sometimes not long time, just depending on the quality of the roller and stuff, you'll start getting a flat spot on there. Or with a slider, when I say slider, I mean something like this. See, this is a slider here. This is a roller. Rollers are round. Sliders are like freaking, what are you, oblong shape. And sliders give you more action. These are supposed to be better, but recently, so I've always sworn by sliders here. But recently I've been testing rollers. And over the years, I've learned a lot of things. So I don't know right now if I like rollers better or sliders. But anyway, to make a long story short, you'll start getting wear. And then if you get wear, then that's how you know you need to replace your sliders or rollers. There'll be a flat spot. All right, let's get back to this. Now that my GoPro is on and we still have some. Okay, so this gasket right here, ladies and gentlemen, normally, honestly, I don't even freaking use it. But if you want, you can. See these little dowel pins? These? There's one there and one there. Pull those out of there. Set those down. I'm just going around and just peeling this sucker. They're real easy to rip. Now, this gasket is designed to be there. I never use them. Never use them. But this engine's going out to a customer. So I will reuse it so we don't have questions. So I'll just set that aside. We've got the gear drive in here, all that. And let me show you an easy way, if you don't know already, to remove like this kickstart stuff. So you'll never get this out unless you take and you put a little bit of, just a small amount of pressure like that on it. And then you could pull it. I'm not going to pull it out because I don't want to, but that's the trick. That's how you pull it out. And for the guys that are building engines, see this kickstart gear? A lot of guys are going to run a CVT cover like this one. See this? See the CVT cover? This is our, by the way, this is our Ravino clutch. I can go over that in another video, but A lot of guys are going to run the CVT cover. We got if you're not running that cover, I should mention this. If you're not running this kickstart cover like that, it's upside down, but you get the picture. If you're not running that kickstart cover, then you're at extreme risk of cracking your engine case right here. You should never just run the cover off. Even though you can and it looks sweet, don't do it. What you need to do is, do you notice right here? See this? This is an engine case brace. You want to run an engine case brace. That's a piece of thick steel that goes around the engine and it protects it. So if you're not running that cover, see how that works? This is the case brace right here. You got to run that if you're running that ankle biter kit, okay? And then back to this. See this gear right here? Some guys will do like a new crankshaft, and they're like, I'm not using the kickstart, so I'm not using this gear. Yeah, don't do that, because the backing plate, this thing right here, it goes up against that. If that's not there, it has nothing to back up against. It has to be there. It's kind of like a spacer, okay? So make sure of that. So let's go over here. I'm gonna do 11 gram. Let's do 12 grams. Since it's a brand new engine, let's do 12 gram. We're gonna ship out the rest of these, so that's not a problem. So we're gonna use 12 gram with this 171cc big bore kit. Set these over here. And the way these are gonna go, it doesn't matter on what way these go. Just gonna drop them in. And here's the cool thing. If you had an 11 gram and you had a 10 gram, you can mix them. 11 gram, 10 gram, 11 gram, 10 gram. And it's going to make it a 10.5 gram. So you can do that, but you got to make sure you stagger them. Okay, goes like that. And we're not using the old backing plate like this. Not using that. Set that aside. We are using this. And remember, I used the old Boss, variator Boss. So that'll set aside. We're not using the old dry face. We're using the light and dry face, okay? We'll set that over there. And we're not using the old clutch, but we are using the secondary slider, and I'll show you about that in just a minute. And we're not using this clutch bell, but we are using this belt. Actually, I'm going to upgrade this belt. We're not going to use that belt. Let me grab... I'll just set that over there for now. If you guys don't know already, you try to go buy a big ass socket like this. You try to buy like a big socket like this, they're gonna run you like 30 bucks, okay? We have this socket, okay? This one's a little beat up, but on the website we have this socket. And on one side, it's a 39. On the other side, it's a 41. This is the ultimate socket that you would need to loosen one of these, or say you had another scooter. See, it doesn't fit that way, but it's a 2-in-1 deal. So you're gonna need that. When you go to loosen this freaking thing, there's this spring under here, so don't loosen it and lose your freaking tooth on it, okay? There's a lot of pressure under here, so I'll show you what we're gonna do. And you definitely need that socket. If you don't have this one, then you got to go to like the auto parts store or something. So what I do, I'll get her on there. I'm going to put my feet like that. Okay, it's off. See that? Off. Bam. Pull that up. See, I can pull that off of there like that. Here's our new clutch. The green clutch is our new clutch. Here's our performance clutch. See, it's got springs in there. So it'll have the clutch engage a little later than just like this stalker. The brake pads, or the pads are bigger. See that? A little longer. So it's gonna grab better. Everything just upgraded, basically. So you got that, and then you're going to need to save this sucker for sure. This spring, you're not going to use because we want a stronger spring. Stronger spring is going to change the engagement and it's going to squeeze the belt down a little bit tighter. So I'm going to pull this out of here. And slide that sucker in there like that. Okay, in order to get these secondary sliders loose, we're gonna need a little screwdriver. So I'm just gonna take this and a little bit each way. See what I'm doing? I don't wanna jam it too hard, but I'm trying to slide this little sheet up. Okay, see how that goes up? There it goes, Jesus. So that O-ring, I think, is just dry. See here? You got this. See these little guys there? I'm gonna grab a needle nose. These are kind of like little rollers. See that? There's 3 of them. Okay, now this thing will slide off. So I'm not going to reuse this anymore. The one that we've got, see how it's got different adjustments? See that one? It's just almost like stock, but more aggressive. Here's a stock one. Okay, and then you got the one that's like this. You could play with it. It's just different engagements on where the pulley engages. So for like drag racing, you'd want to use this one. We're going to use the more straight one. It's got a more aggressive angle. We're going to slide this sucker down, but we need to put just a little grease in there. I'll put the grease like in, just in the rubber seals basically. And see how I'm getting my fingers on there and they're greasy? You don't want to do that. And we're going to have to clean it off with carburetor cleaner when we're done. So slide this down. Just like that. So what we're trying to do is line these holes up. See where we had those? See if I did it right there. See, that's the aggressive, more aggressive angle. I want to spin it and do that one. I'm trying to do this so you can see it, but it's super difficult. Okay, there it is. See, one's in there. I'm gonna do the same thing to all 3, and then we're gonna lube them up. There's 2. There's the 3rd one. Okay. So you don't want these to be dry, because the way that this works is, see how the pulley moves like that? It spins and goes up and down at the same time. Just get some grease in there. Those go in there just like that. It's okay to get a little grease around there. No problem. And then remember our little cup here. Push that down. It should go real easy. So I'm going to take a little bit of grease, put it right here. Okay. So normally you'd put the spring on just like that and be done with it. But with this kit, this is the NCY 2.0 Super Transmission Kit. I'm going to come back around and clean all this off because I can't be touching it. See if I have grease in here. And you don't want grease on your belts. And it's all greasy, so you can't go together like that. You've got this bunch of ball bearings. We got to put those bearings all along that line. It's going to be a real pain in the butt. And then we'll carefully flip it over, slide it in, and then we'll have a bearing operated spring. Okay? Super smooth. These are where the bearings are all riding along there. I'm just getting grease down in where the bearings are riding. The reason why, because then the ball bearings aren't going to roll out of there. And it's kind of like glue in a way. And then one by one, putting those in. If you're real good, you can grab 2 or 3 at the same time. They're loaded up. Then there's a lot of bearings left over, but they're certainly not going to fit on here. So what do we need to do? See that sucker? We're going to go like this, okay? I'm going to grab it. Be very careful. Like this. See that? Flip it over, it fits right in there. So now, we could take our spring. It's a bearing style, super sweet bearing. Spring, what would you even call that? Spring bearing? Makes sense, ladies and gents? Jesus. So now what we need to do, now that I have this all put together, see how that works? So we need to put this clutch right on top of there, and we need to compress it down while screwing this onto there. I definitely want to put Loctite on here. I'm going to do some blue Loctite. I've been known to put red on here too. Loctite goes on thread so it won't loosen. It will never loosen. So I'm going to put this on there and see that this little unit is shaped a certain way. It's shaped just like that. We got to match it up like we're doing blocks when we're a kid. Let's see if we can do this, all right? Let me turn this down so you can see. And this, if you let go of this thing, you're gonna lose your freaking tooth. Okay? That's a for sure thing. So, and they do have special tools for this, but I never use them. So squeeze it down like that. Put my foot on there. See what I'm doing there? Screw that thing on. And there we are. So this is the NCY clutch, completely built. Okay. This looks nice if you're running an open CVT, and it's got the little splines there, so it grabs better. That goes on there. We're not using the old clutch or the old spring. Old clutch, old spring. So yeah, so that's the variator. This is the clutch. That's going to go like that. This will go like that. And then the belt goes across there. All brand new CVT kit, and it's going to go right in here. Okay? But we're not going to do that yet because remember we're installing gears and a short wheel axle kit. In order to get to that, it's right here. It's behind this cover. That's what we're going to do next. Okay, there shouldn't be any oil in here since it's a brand new engine. I've definitely been in the scenario where there is oil in there. Okay, I'm going to put this underneath there. I'm going to loosen this. I believe it's a 10 millimeter. I have a 10 over here. There. Magnetic drain plug kit as well. So that sucker is going to replace this sucker. So and you always want to take note of the little crush washer that's under here. Make sure there's nothing, and there shouldn't be anything in here. Oh good, there's not. See that crush washer there? That's going to go right there. It's going to go back in. So since there's no oil in there, that's what we want because we're going to ship this thing, so we want this to be dry as a bone. Well, that's a 12 actually. The new one's a 12. Nine foot-pounds, if you were wondering. So it's just these bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And they're all the same size, if I remember right. That one, this is not common. You won't see this very often, but that goes there. I lied. I remember now. These are longer. See those 2 bolts right there? Those are both going to be longer. Okay, now You can get in there with a little screwdriver, but you want to make sure that you're not like prying like any gasket surfaces. So you can do like here. This should not be much of a pry. This is like nothing. See that? See how I just barely moved that? You do the same thing right here. Okay, it's cracked open, and we're just going to give this a little wiggle. And this thing just fell out. See where this goes? This goes right here. Just like that. It's just going to sit there. But here's the... This gasket I'm going to reuse because it hasn't been heat cycled. However, in the kit, it does come with a new gasket. Okay, so that's come off. Just like that. We're not doing anything with this. Got the brand new gasket on there. Haven't even been heat cycled, so we'll keep that on there. Pull this gear off. This is the upgraded gear, so if I was to change that, that's going to go right over that. So, but I'm not going to use this gear anymore, so I'm putting it to the side. See this gear right here? So here is our stock one. Here is our upgraded one. We're not using this. Normally, like this is the gear that you would have had to take apart and press the new one in. So won't use that. That's going to go right back in where I found it. But I'm not doing that right now. Here is the long wheel axle. Pulling that out, see what that looks like. Wheel axle, and we're doing the short wheel axle. See the difference there? Okay. Short axle, I'm not going to use this anymore. See this seal? You got to be careful because you want to make sure that you're careful. You're not going to fold the seal over, so I just kind of give it a little wiggle and see how it goes in like that. The other side, I could screw in my nut on the other side. It's just going to sit there. It's nothing for whenever it's time to put the hub on. Okay. Now, this sucker, the new gear, is going in right there, just like that. Here's our transmission gear. These are symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which way you go. It works either way. New transmission gear. There. That's the transmission setup. Here's our cover. We're going to, like I said, I'm reusing the gasket. It hasn't been heat cycled. It's brand new. Otherwise, it does come with a brand new gasket. You got to watch these dowels. Make sure you have these dowels. See that? I can take the dowel out. That sucker. One there, one up here. So whenever you install this, just be very slow. Take your time and just have to line it up. Sometimes you have to spin the splines. So like, there it is, right there. These are 9 foot-pounds here. Longer screws go here. There's 2 of them right there. Those are the longer screws. The rest here. Although there is this one. Remember, this goes right here. And this also does have a longer screw as well. This one. This is for the spring on the this little lever here. See this little lever? There's a spring that goes from here to here. That's what that's for. I'm just going to get those started and then we'll torque it down to 9 foot-pounds. Torque wrench, set it to 9 foot-pounds. There it is. And we're going in a star pattern, so here to here to here to here, in no particular order, just star pattern, a little bit each time. Don't torque one all the way, right, all at once. Just go bounce around. There's one that clicked. There's one. That was one. Another one. Click. Welcome to Rolling Wrench Live. We normally do this on Friday nights. Late night like this. It's almost always late night like this. A little bit different than most YouTubers. We don't do any customer work, but I actually have 2 171 motors sitting around and I need to sell them. So I put these on the website and then they sold. So very rare for us to do customer builds, but that's what that is. Can't have any fingerprints up under here at all on anything here. If you have an old clutch, it's okay to sand this, get it all nice and clean. If you have an old clutch, make sure you clean the heck out of this and take some sandpaper or a file and just rough this up just a little bit. So let me grab some carburetor cleaner and we can get this thing cleaned up. You really shouldn't get any of this on your hands. I'm going to come down the pulley. I just clean it. I don't want any fingerprints. We don't want any fingerprints because that's going to transfer over to our belt. You don't want fingerprints on there either. It's kind of like brakes when you first get them. You don't want any there. I think we're good. All right, so as far as belts go, the 842-2030 belt, premium Gates belt, like Kevlar belt, is what you want to run. The GY6 long cases also have an 835-2030 belt, but you don't get as much performance out of it from the testing that I've done. So I would highly recommend 835 or 842-2030 belts. We have them on the side, of course. Okay, so here's my belt. Some belts are directional. Normally I just like to see the words like when I install it. So if you're looking at the side of the cover, you look down, you can read the stuff here. So step one is, let's put this, I made sure my fingers are clean so that I don't, be touching this. Okay, put this on nice and easy. Don't lose your rollers, okay? That's your variator. And then, this is a little bit difficult. So here, again, make sure your hands are clean. Here is how this works. Squeeze this. It's a squeeze in and clockwise. See how I'm opening that up? So what I want to do, this is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's easier if you're on the ground and then you're able to push. So I squeeze this down. See how I have the belt around here like that? Squeeze that down. I'm going to do it on the floor, actually. Okay, I'm going to squeeze it. See how I can put my hands down like that? Squeeze up, slide the belt in, and squeeze and turn. So see how I have that? So as long as you're holding it, it won't come loose. So here we go. Going over the top there. I'm still a little worried that this is going to come loose. So I'm keeping my hand on it. You got to kind of hold this out like that. See, like that? When you put it on. Otherwise, whenever you go to crank it down, you're just cranking down on the belt. So, put your washer on there. I actually use red Loctite. You could use blue. I just don't want this thing coming loose. So, I'm going to put a little Loctite on there. Okay? I'm going to hand start this. And then I want to make sure my belt is up there like that. Now you could torque it down, but you have to hold it on the other side. Okay? But for me, I'm going to hit it because I feel very comfortable with a torque, with a impact gun. Okay? Good. Coming over here. Line the splines up. There's splines right here. Line those up. Put your washer on there. Little red Loctite. You can use blue. I recommend red though. I always get comments, people saying, if you're putting red on there, you're never going to get it off. There's never been a time in history where I couldn't get a bolt off with red Loctite. Not even a primary on a Harley Davidson. Okay, there is our CVT. We've got our gear up kit in there. We've got our CVT in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spin this over so that that belt doesn't get in the way when I'm trying to put my cover back on. So it's just kind of going around to the side there. There it is. I was going to use this gasket, but honestly, I never use these. They're a freaking waste of time, so I'm not using that gasket. It does nothing. There's no fluids in here. It's got an open, this vent right here on the CVT. It goes open in there, so what is a gasket doing if it's open? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not putting it on there. So whenever I put this cover on, I just got to make sure that this is here. And these are really, really a pain in the butt unless you're using, like, I'll show you. This is the trick. Let me line this up. All right, dowel in there. Dowel. Where's the other dowel? Is it there? No. We got where the other dowel. Oh, right here. Dowel in there. Dowel right there. Kickstart cover. It's a short, slow little wiggle. Okay. Normally you get to that part and it's freaking hard to get that on there. So the trick is get the load off, pull that sucker down to kickstart. So if I can flip it up like that and pull the... There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to get all these started real quick. Remember the long bolts back here? All right, there it is. Woo! So that's done. We've got our CVT transmission kit put together, our final drive gears done. The only thing that I didn't do is install our magnetic drain plug kit. It's really, really easy. Let me show you how to do it. So on a GY6, you have two drain plugs, one on the left side, one on the right side. Here's the one on the left side. Okay. Right there. No magnet on the bottom there. The one we've got a magnet. Put the crush washer on there, of course. Screw in. That has a torque setting. I'm actually going to, well, you could look it up on my site, but what I do, I've done this long enough. Just going to crank this sucker down. I don't like to use an impact for the drain bolts. There's that one. Spin this sucker around. There's another 17 millimeter right there. This one's got a spring. This one's got a spring in it and a filter. Just like that. See that? We're going to take this sucker and the spring. It's a push and turn. It's like that. You get it started. Okay. Got her started. Okay. Sheesh, ladies and gents. Okay, got all that done. Our Kickstarter on there. 10 millimeter. This is our kickstart. It's like that. That's a 10 mil. Kickstart's on there. This is everything removed. It's got a new belt. Got a short drive axle. New gears. Sweet. We change out the drain plugs for magnetic ones, all three of them. The gear oil. We got a new variator. New clutch. New contra spring. New clutch bell, new secondary slider performance, and new drive face. And we're done. We're done. Appreciate all you guys more than you know. I'm going to see you in the next video. Love, peace, scooter grease. See you in the next one.